Hi, I'm Audrey Kalman, and I am here with Jennifer Browdy, and this is the third and final of our little videos that we're producing to let you guys know about a workshop we're planning called Birth Your Truest Stories, which will start in September, and which we are both very excited about. We're using birth as a metaphor for the writing process to help people get into it, get past their fears, get grounded, build a community, all the things that can really help make writing successful. And in this third trimester, things are really getting real. This is the part where we are preparing for labor and delivery. And I have worked as a birth doula for a long time, helping women who are having babies. And this is often the time when, well, there's a couple things that happen. One is there's a lot of anxiety. And I always tell women that if they weren't nervous, then I'd be really worried. So anxiety is totally normal. Like it's really normal to be worried. And same thing with a writing project that you have. You put a lot of work into it and you get to a point where it's time to start thinking about getting it into the world, and that can be very anxiety provoking. So that is a totally normal feeling. And then the other thing that I hear from women is, oh my God, I just can't wait to not be pregnant anymore. So depending on how long you've been working on your writing project, there could be this great feeling of, like, I cannot wait to get it out into the world. So we'll be dealing with all of those different kinds of feelings in this 3-month segment of our 9-month workshop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of the things that can help you in envisioning getting it out into the world is really getting in touch with who your audience is. And like, who are you writing to? Who are you writing for? What is your purpose in telling this particular story in this particular way? So that's something that we'll be thinking about together for each other. And then also we'll be thinking about and probably doing some revision. And revision is, I think it's, people love to hate revision. I think certainly my college age students, really, most of them hate revision. They just want to be done with it, and it's always a struggle to get them to slow down and just see the potential that's kind of lurking behind some of their lines that could be drawn out. And if they take the time to do that, the piece will start to take on a life of its own, and things will come out that they never could have predicted initially. They didn't know. There's that famous Patricia Hampl saying, "You write to find out what you know. You don't write what you know." So I think we'll be working with the group to think together about what might be lurking behind, waiting to come out. And part of what will help it come out is the trust. Trust in your own voice and trust in the group to be kind of a safe container for whatever it is you want to say. So that's one thing that by the third trimester we will have become that nurturing writing community that we all yearn for.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I actually personally love revising and revision most of the time. But one thing that I think will also help each other do by the time we get to this point is help people to stay true to what their vision of their work is. I notice that happens a lot with people getting feedback on their work, is especially if you're not used to it, if you're starting out, you tend to run after to chase whatever your first reader says. If they don't like this section, or if they need to know more about that, or they want more on this character, you say, oh, well, I'm going to give you more on that character. And you give it to your next reader and they say, oh, why is there so much about this character in there? So I think being able to stay true to what your voice is telling you and what it wants to be is pretty important. And as you said, that having that trusting container is a huge part of that, and being able to not only feel vulnerable enough to share, but to stand up tall and say, this is what I am saying, this is what I want to say. And if somebody else gives you feedback, you can hear it and incorporate what you need, but you don't have to change your entire work based on feedback from other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other thing you have to trust and just sort of relax into is that this takes time. You know, it all takes time. It took me 8 years to write my memoir. And a lot of the, I would say at least 3 of those years was revision, you know, and having written many more, much more than actually made it into the book. And so figuring out what I didn't want in the book and what should stay, what needed to stay. So we'll start that process with each other in this group. And we're hoping that, you know, it'll be an open-ended ending, just the way birth is. You were going to talk a little about that.
Yeah, well, this is something that women sometimes forget, because they get so focused on the moment of giving birth or the day of giving birth and how challenging it's going to be. And part of that is because it's unknown. They've never done it before. If it's your first baby, it might be scary. So you focus on that. And they sometimes forget that no matter how long and arduous and difficult, the most challenging birth experience you could possibly have will be over in a relatively short amount of time. And then you have a child. And of course, that child is with you for on into the indefinite future. And so we're trying to think of this workshop as really a threshold to the next stage of whatever is going to happen with people's projects. And I really liked what you said about not rushing. I think that there's too much, especially in our culture today, there's so much emphasis on productivity and being productive and getting it out there. And that's sometimes to the detriment of the work itself and the voice itself and the story itself that wants to come out.
And also the magic of the process, you know, actually, I guess kind of like how you might have postpartum depression, you know, when you actually finish something and get it out, then you're like, well, now what do I do? You know, so you miss the process. So I think that we're going to cultivate a real delight in the process of writing. And, you know, we'll never want to stop, and that will be fine. So, you know, both of us are coaches, and we do other writing workshops, and we'll see what wants to happen with this group when it's quote unquote over.
Yeah. Well, I am really looking forward to this. I can't wait. I can't wait to see who our participants are going to be and what kind of group will form. And we really hope that you will join us for this. We are very excited about it. If you want to find out more about it, you can go to either of our websites, jenniferbrowdy.com, audreykalman.com, and get in touch with us that way. And we are looking forward to this amazing process of helping you gestate your work.
Yes. Okay, till soon.
Yes.